Looks dry out there. You think I should turn on the sprinkler today? Yeah, I think so too. Aha! Beautiful. Beautiful. My daughter and I would like to talk to you today about turning your sprinklers on, why I'm doing it, and why many of you should be doing it as well. Yeah? It's water. All right, my daughter's down for a nap, so let's talk a little bit. The reason that we turn the sprinklers on in the early spring, even though we typically have a lot of overcast skies, is most of the rain that comes, I mean, there's exceptions to this, but most of the rain that I get around here, and probably a lot of you guys get, is drizzle. You get small amounts of rain every now and then, maybe every day, but it's not a lot at any one point. Now, obviously, there are exceptions to this, and you would know your own area. So if you're getting routine heavy rainstorms, then this particular reason might not apply. But because we're getting lots of drizzle, lots of frost, lots of dustings of snow at this early part of spring, at the end of winter, none of the water that's actually getting to the ground is in big enough quantities to go deep into the root system. Now, as I've said in previous videos, as our grass is emerging from dormancy, this doesn't matter if you're down south running a warm season grass or up north with a cold season grass, all grass comes out of dormancy at the root level first. For the most part, you don't see the root system waking up. You see the grass greening up a little bit later. So if you look behind me, you'll notice that my grass is slowly starting to turn green. But I can guarantee you down in the root system, everything has emerged from dormancy. The root system is putting on new growth, and it's attempting to prepare itself for later in the year when soil temperatures get really high and outside air temperatures get really high. It needs to be able to protect itself from the stresses of summer. So all of the root growth that it starts working on in the early spring is very important. And if the roots are growing, then that means the roots need water. So if your skies are only drizzling on you, even though they're overcast, your root system needs water. So our irrigation system needs to be turned on so that we can deliver enough water deep into the ground so that we can support the grass root system. Generally speaking, the vast majority of grass types need at least an inch of water every single week to do their best, to perform their best, to look their best. During the summer, we're going to need probably an inch and a half of water every week, simply because of evaporation. As temperatures increase, especially in low humidity environments, evaporation happens much, much faster. I mean, it can be upwards of like 10 times as fast in those conditions. So in the spring, because we don't have to contend with serious evaporation because temperatures are still low, we can get away with providing our lawns only about an inch a week. Now, I personally prefer watering my lawn one time every single week, all in one go. I want to give 1 inch of water to my lawn once a week. Now, later in the summer, especially in particularly hot times of the summer, if it's hot and dry, I might bump that up to 2 times a week and split it, maybe 2 3/4 inch sessions. That's a topic for down the road, like, summer stress prevention or whatever the topic would be. This time of year, I want to provide the root system of my grass enough water that it can grow healthy. Now, this falls in line with my desire to have the deepest root system of my grass plants that I possibly can. Again, I will be producing in the near future a full video all about pushing root growth deeper, how we can encourage the roots to grow deeper. So I hope you'll stick around for that if you're new to this channel. Now, aside from feeding the lawn water, what it needs to live, There are a couple other reasons why I suggest that you turn your sprinkler system on a little bit earlier in the season than you normally do. For one, later in the season when we really need a lot of water, when it's even more important, we want to make sure that our sprinklers are spraying the lawn evenly. So this time of year, we can turn the sprinklers on and do a lot of sprinkler head maintenance without the stress of having to get it done like right away. We can take our time to get it done right. So that is going to be very situational, it's going to completely depend on what sprinkler system you have. And I don't know, your particular needs. I don't know, maybe you need a sprinkler that only does like a small fan, but you have one random sprinkler that it would be really nice if you could go more than 180 degrees around. If you set your sprinkler system up early, you have plenty of time to refine it. Because in the middle of the summer, you don't want to find that you're getting a fantastic coverage everywhere in your lawn, except for one little spot. One little spot is going dry. If we can solve that problem now, you don't have to fix that problem later on, and your grass doesn't have to suffer later on when it's dealing with stress. Now, there is a third reason that I suggest setting up your sprinkler right now. It's less important, I think, but I think for some people, it can be quite important. For me, I put great importance on it because where I live, we live in a northern climate. I live at a high elevation, and we get cold all the time, like way into spring. Our average last frost date is like in mid-June. So we consistently have cold temperatures in the morning, in the wee hours of the morning. Now, as the grass wants to wake up, now this doesn't apply just to cold, high elevation climates. It applies to everywhere. So first thing in the morning, no matter where you live, is the coldest part of the day. So if you've got a warm season grass and you're waking up in the morning and it's 35 degrees out, just some random cold day, the soil surface is going to be close to 35 degrees. Now, maybe an inch deep, it's going to be warmer than that. But the thing is, the soil surface is very cold because the outside air temperature is cold. Now, air, the sun coming down, the air is going to slowly warm that soil surface level up throughout the day. Now, maybe you're going to get up to like 70 degrees in the middle of the day, maybe 80 degrees, I don't know. And so that soil temperature is going to warm up. But I can guarantee you that if you run the sprinkler in the morning, it will warm up faster. The reason for that is because of like the dynamics of water. Water can cool things off faster. Water can warm things up faster. In an agricultural setting, people use water to protect against freezes. So if, for instance, let's say you live in Texas, not that long ago, about a month and change ago, Texas had a huge freeze that like started killing off things that never experienced temperatures so low. In an agricultural setting, you can actually apply water to plants during freezing temperatures, and it will actually protect these plants from frost damage. The reason for that is because as water freezes, heat is released, and that's how it turns into a solid. And as the heat is released, it kind of creates this small little environmental microclimate that stays at 32 degrees, even though the outside air temperature might be 26. In my lawn, I want the grass to warm up. Now, deep down in my soil, let's call it 4 inches down, we're sitting at about 43 to 45 degrees, depending on where I plunge the thermometer into my lawn. Every single morning, if it's 28 degrees outside, then that means that tippy top layer of soil is frozen. And I can't warm up 3 to 4 inches deep into the ground with a frozen layer on top. Now, I could wait for the sun to come out and the outside ambient air temperature to warm up that crust layer, because once that crust layer warms up, then it can start permeating heat lower into the soil surface where the root zone of my grass is. But I don't want to wait for that. So if I have my sprinklers available, then I can turn those things on the coldest mornings, and that's going to warm up the soil surface faster than waiting for the air. And once the soil surface is warmed up, then it will be more effective at warming up the lower levels of the soil where the root zone exists. Once that root zone is thoroughly warm, once we're up into the upper 40s, because I've run cold season grasses here, our grass is going to be growing Fantastic. It's going to look amazing. The water coming out of your irrigation system might feel ice cold to you. Like if you were to just take a shower with it, you would die of cold. Maybe not die, but you would feel enormously cold. But I can virtually guarantee you that that water coming out of your system is going to be warmer than the ambient air temperature first thing in the morning. It just is. So take advantage of that. You don't have to run your sprinklers every single day, but on the coldest mornings, pop them on. Your lawn's root system is going to need that water anyway, and you can use it to warm up the soil surface on the coldest mornings. Now, depending on where you live, especially if you're up north where it gets particularly cold, you're going to have to be aware of extreme cold temperatures, obviously. So this is where the buck falls to you, man. If you think if your overnight air temperatures are going to get cold enough to risk the pipes of your irrigation system, then you better drain that thing out and close it up, just like it was the end of fall. I do that around here. Every now and then in the month of April, we might hit like 15 degrees overnight. On nights like that, I'm going to drain the system. It doesn't take me more than just a couple minutes to do it. So if you are worried about that happening, just drain the system, turn it off. If we're only running it once a week, it's not a big deal. Again, this is Brian, turfmechanic.com. Down below in the description, there's a link over to some supplemental information about watering the lawn in the spring. I suggest you go ahead and take a look at that. And up here is going to be my spring lawn care guide. Go ahead and click on that link if you're new to lawn care. It covers pretty much everything you need to think about for the entire season.